Hi, my name is Billy Dillard. I'm a custom fabricator. I do everything from welding to woodwork to sculpture work, airbrush work, murals, bas-relief sculptures. So this is a sculpture I did. I roughed it out with cedar. First I roughed it out with a chainsaw, and then I come in with a Dremel and use some burr bits, typhoon burr bits, to give the raccoon a lot of texture. The metalwork, I actually forged all that, and then I hammered it because I wanted to give it a really rough finish, and I wanted the metal to actually fit the cedar here because I wanted that to look like a rotted post, so I needed the metalwork to fit. And then I put some barbed wire on it, basically just cosmetically to add a little flavor to it. I took a torch and I burnt all the barbs with a tip to keep them where you don't actually injure yourself on them. And then I airbrushed the raccoon because I had certain people saying they thought it was a fox. So I figured I would put some color to it that would take the guesswork right out of that. This here is my tree ant. He's a little over 6 foot tall. I did it because my mailbox that I have right now is really boring and it doesn't really show. I thought I kind of need something to grab people's attention when they drive by. So I like Lord of the Rings and I like Disney stuff, so I combined Lord of the Rings and planes together. So I got my little Disney airplane, and I did have a kind of a shocked look expression on the airplane's face, but I didn't want to scare the kids, so I turned it into a little smiley face instead. That way when they see the tree ant, they think it's kind of scary looking, and then they see the plane, they see the smile on the plane's face, they realize, okay, it's not a bad tree. So, and it's the tree, I made it out of a cement mixture that I mix. It doesn't have any rock in it, and there's 200 feet of rebar inside of this thing. There's actually a rebar cage over the actual mailbox that I made the plane out of. So it's really sturdy, and the mix I use, there's no sand or there's no rock in it. It's Portland cement and a few other ingredients I use. And I've hauled it around on this trailer for at least 6 months, maybe more, and it's held up extremely well. I haven't had any cracking issues with it at all. And I painted it with general finishes and used their clear on it, and that is holding up extremely well. These are a couple custom bikes I built when the big thing was going on with TV with custom motorcycles and everything. I wanted to get involved in that, but my wife wanted me to do custom bikes instead, so I did. I did these custom bikes kind of for fun. When I was a kid, I tried to build a cool three-wheeler, but I didn't have the knowledge to do it, so when that thing happened, I thought, well, okay, it's perfect time, and so I built, that was the first one I built. It's all metal, there's no fiberglass or anything on it, and it's 3 speeds, and I got my little saddlebag, my little pack back there where I can put my tools, and that's a Honda 1100 rack that I got at the salvage yard to put on there, and I did all the custom metal bending and the body work and the paint work. And this one here, it started off originally with when the Schwinn came out with that new 20-inch. It was just a little short bike, and I liked that big fat tire, so I got that. I bought the whole bike, and I just used the frame, just this part where the wheel was on it, and everything else I built the rest of the frame and the forks and the handlebars and all this crazy bent tubing. I don't have a tube bender, so what I did is I filled up all the tubes with sand and capped them off, heat them up with a torch, and bent them around a wooden template that I put flat bar stock on to get the bends that I wanted, and then take the sand out and weld it all up and grind the welds down and do the body work and paint it. And it's got a jack shaft and an idler shaft on it and 3 speeds, where I got a 3-speed on it instead of it having no gears at all. And it's got front disc brakes. It's got a Springer front end on it, my idea of a Springer front end. RNS mirrors on it, headlights, tail lights. Pretty cool bike. And that's pretty much it for that one. Yeah, this is a boat I built in Florida when I was working for Miller Marines on the side, my own personal project. I wanted to be able to show the boss. He had me rolling out bubbles on fiberglass, and I was really bored with it, so I asked him if I could build my own boat on the side on my own time. He said go ahead. So I built it, and he'd come by occasionally and look at it, and he was going, well, you're pretty good at shaping things. So he told me to go up on the fly bridge on the 60-foot sport fishing boat he was building, and he said just do what you want, and that's exactly what I was after, because I wanted to give that sport fishing boat more of a Italian type flair to it. So he allowed me to go up there and start sculpting that. The wing is non-functional. I did the wing simply for looks, but a person could take the design like that and rig it where it was functional, where it lift the front end up or push the front end back down. So by law, you have to have these lights on it, the green and red lights on them. So I didn't like the ones they normally have because they're really bulky and ugly. So that's what these are. So I recessed them in the hull, and I wanted to give kind of a shark-like look. So I'd done some research and studied shark eyes. So I wanted to give it a shark eye flare. And it was kind of funny because I got one side done, and my boss come out and looked at it. He said, "You know, that's pretty cool. Do you think you'll be able to do the other side?" I said, "Well, I did this side, didn't I?" So this is a Honda 800 windscreen that I flips upside down, and I actually fiberglassed around it. It's replaceable, so if I was to break it, I can take that windscreen out and put another one in it if I can find another Honda 800 windscreen. These are 96 Firebird mirrors. They're adjustable. I bought them brand new, and they're actually recessed into the hull. So there again, I fiberglassed around them to create the perfect track for these mirrors. And I wanted these in case I'm running on the water and the game warden got in behind me. I wanted to see where he was at, where I could possibly outrun him. This rock here, actually, I roughed it out first in a chunk of cedar, and I put diamond mesh wire on it. And then I did my concoction. I mixed up with my secret ingredients. Anyway, so I mixed up my mixture, I fixed it all, and sawdust and a few other ingredients, and I put it on there, and I sculpted it while it was still sculptable. And now I gotta do the horse head on it. It'll be like a silhouette of a horse head, and I'll emboss it on there, and I'll use polygem epoxy to do that, because and this thing can be scaled up to any size a person wanted. I've been working with horses since I was, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years old. My dad bought me and my brother 2 ponies. So that was my first start. One of the ponies, it was the mare's colt, and he was unbroke, so little stud pony colt. And that's how I started. I broke her to ride, and I had to break him out to ride, and just kind of went from there. After I did that, I went and apprenticed on some horse farms and worked with reining horses and cutting horses, and then I got into classical dressage. I really like classical dressage because, to me, that's like the top of the line as far as training and conditioning of horses you can get. So I'm a firm believer, no matter what discipline I'm going to go into with a horse, I would definitely take him through a regimen of classical dressage. Anyway, so it's just teaching all this stuff in baby steps, and the clicker training worked really well for him. I like that better than traditional method. As far as traditional method is when you release pressure, that's a reward. Well, I thought a lot about that, and I thought, you know, if someone put pressure on me to get me to do everything, I would only give them enough where they'd leave me alone. And that's traditional horse training. I like a horse that wants to offer it to me. There's no pressure put on them. They willingly give me what I'm after, and they'll give you a whole lot more that way. Yep, so this is the Tinkerbell hut. It's 7 foot in diameter. It's 9 feet tall to the peak. I framed it in with fur, and then I'm coming over and I put a cedar skin on it, and each slab is like 1 inch thick, so there's 2 inch thickness on all this here. And I leave the live edge on it, and on the roof I'm using cedar also on that there, and I'm actually cutting and creating all these petals because it's supposed to look almost like a pine cone when it's done. So I'm doing that by shaping the cedar petals and doing a little bit of carving on them. And then after that, then I got to do the door and the window. The window will have a stained glass window in it. The door is going to have some stained glass, and it'll be pretty rustic looking also. And that'll be the Tinkerbell hut. Okay, for my reference material, me and my wife were going down the road, and there was this dead raccoon on the road, right? So I pulled off the road and I held it up while she took pictures of it, and it was kind of funny because people are driving by, and we said, I bet they think we're looking at this like maybe we could take this home and eat it or something, you know. But my wife, she wasn't overly thrilled about that part of it. But that, I mean, you couldn't get better reference material without being able to handle a live one.